The Pentagon just accepted a secret $130 million donation to pay the troops, and no one knows who it came from. Under a grey October sky, cranes clawed through the east wing of the White House, ripping marble and memory from the nation's most symbolic home. Dust drifted toward the Washington Monument like a ghost of democracy, dissolving in the wind. Reporters shouted questions that vanished into silence. And inside that fog of spectacle and secrecy, something even more extraordinary slipped through the bloodstream of the news. The US military, funded, for the first time, by a private donor. It sounds like fiction, it feels like prophecy, but it's real. President Donald Trump announced it casually. A friend of mine wanted to help the troops. He didn't say who. He didn't have to. The Pentagon confirmed the gift. $130 million. Accepted under something called General Gift Acceptance Authority. A phrase so bland it almost hides its danger. In that moment, the unthinkable happened quietly. The financial lifeline that runs from Congress to command was rerouted through an anonymous hand. Think about that. A military that answers to the people, now funded even briefly by a mystery benefactor. For more than 2 centuries, soldiers have sworn an oath not to a man, not to a donor, but to the Constitution. That oath is sacred. It's what separates a democracy from a dictatorship, an army of citizens from an army for sale. And yet here we are, in 2025, where an anonymous friend can write a check to pay America's troops. Experts warned the move may violate the Anti-Deficiency Act, a federal law that forbids spending money Congress hasn't approved. Others noted that the Pentagon's own rules only allow gifts for hospitals, schools, or veterans, not payroll. Bill Hoagland, a former Senate budget aide, said it bluntly. They can accept it, but they cannot use it for that purpose. Still, the check was accepted. Still, the silence grew. Senator Chris Coons said the quiet part out loud. Using anonymous donations to fund our military raises, troubling questions of whether our troops are at risk of literally being bought and paid for by foreign powers. That phrase, bought and paid for, hung in the air like a warning from history. Because once you open that door, who walks through it? A billionaire? A foreign government? A defense contractor with a promise to keep? And yet, even in scale, it's absurd. 130 million split among 1.3 million troops is only about $100 each. It won't change a soldier's life, it won't stop the shutdown, but it changes something deeper, the boundary between democracy and dependency. Because once you normalize private money filling the void left by public failure, you've changed the DNA of governance itself. The republic begins to blur at the edges. Power stops rising from the people. It starts trickling down from whoever can afford to help. For some soldiers, that help can't come soon enough. 1 in 4 military families already faces food insecurity. Imagine being told that your next paycheck might come from an unnamed friend of the president. Imagine explaining that to your child. Patriotism turns into humiliation. Service becomes spectacle. This is what privatization looks like when it wears the mask of mercy. A democracy cannot survive on donations. Its institutions cannot beg from billionaires while preaching integrity to its citizens. And maybe this wasn't about funding at all. Maybe it was a test, to see how far a leader could stretch the definition of normal before outrage dissolves into exhaustion. To see how many red lines the public would ignore before realizing they've all been erased. Because every day, another story blurs the line. The East Wing demolished for a new ballroom. A secret check to the Pentagon. A government shutdown repainted as strength. Brick by brick, the People's House becomes a monument to private wealth, and the silence around it grows louder than truth. Somewhere tonight, a soldier's wife checks her account and wonders which billionaire just paid her husband. Somewhere else, a general pretends not to see what this really means. And outside, under that grey October sky, the cranes keep tearing through marble, building something new, erasing something old. Democracy doesn't collapse overnight. It sells itself, one donation at a time. So here's the question that lingers like smoke in the national conscience. When the government of a republic accepts a stranger's check to pay its soldiers, Is it still the government of the people? Or has it already become something else entirely? Subscribe now and join thousands who refuse to sleepwalk through history. One click keeps you connected to stories that awaken, inspire, and ignite change. Don't just watch, belong.